Welcome to Massa Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. A little bit of Bourbon County up in this piece in the form of their 2023 Backyard Stout. Yeah, Bourbon County. We are doubly lucky here in New Jersey in that we get pretty much all the variants of Bourbon County, but they turn up. They sit on shelves for quite a long time. And in the added little twist of goodness, a lot of larger chains that have liquor stores in New Jersey, kind of how it works. Anybody can open like a beer/liquor wine place. They go by the letter of law. Once this beer gets close to like a year old, they discount that stuff and fly it out the door. That's where we are here. We have this beer that I think typically, I want to say it was like $24 when it was first on shelves. Not really down for paying that a premium when it comes to beers. I picked this up for $17 because it was on sale because it's old. I love it. I love it. So what do we have going on here? We have a Bourbon County brand variant Backyard Stout. On the back here we have stout aged in bourbon barrels with mulberries, boysenberries, and marionberries. Okay. 12.9%, pretty relatively low in the ABV for Bourbon County. And this particular bottle was bottled on the 11th of October. Right? Oh no, they actually have a best by date, 11 October 28. So I assume that's 5 years. So it's 11 October 23 is when it was bottled. Yeah, yeah. I will say this without hesitation. Label-wise, bottle-wise, I think Bourbon County's beers are some of the best branding. I know they have gobs and gobs of money to throw behind stuff like that. But just the embossing, the shape, the labels, this little tag, it's one of the smarter brands when it is coming to like beer in general. So yeah, I've always been a fan of it. I preferred it when they were in the 12-ounce bottles. You know, just from a standpoint of I typically don't want to drink this much beer in a single sitting, but we're lucky enough we can put a little cork in it. It'll last several days. But yeah, label-wise, bottle-wise, the whole thing, I'm always a fan of it. As far as the beer goes, it definitely looks like it has a berry component, more specifically because of the head. I mean, it's dark, it's rich, it looks like a big old boisterous stout. But while this head kind of comes off as that kind of malted malt ball, kind of where I like my coffee to look like kind of color-wise, there's a tinge of dark reddish fruit to it. So it definitely looks the part of having a berry addition to it. But yeah, looks the part of a big old stout. Let's see if we get a nose. And it's kind of on brand because it really does smell very much like just classic Bourbon County, except it seems like the spirit portion of the show here, the bourbon portion of the show here, is just way more rich and fruity than you typically get, and it just kind of makes sense with what this beer has going on with those additions of those berries on it. So think about your just nice roasty toasty, dark, rich kind of Russian Imperial Stout base with that big, huge bourbon component with that nice, beautiful bear char you typically get from your classic Bourbon County Stout, but just add that richer, more reddish fruit berry kind of component on top of it. Actually, a very, very beautiful nose. Impactful, violent, but at the same time beautiful. Just super over the top, rich red fruit style bourbon on it. So I'm actually super excited to dive into this sucker. Cheers, y'all. It follows through like a tea, because what you're getting here, maybe a slightly tempered Bourbon County Stout base, like a little less roasty, because I think there's a little extra sweetness going on here, but you're still getting that rich Russian Imperial Stout roasty toasty base to it. You're getting this nice spirit component to it, but then you get this kind of like, and I mean this in the most positive way, I don't mean this in kind of a disgusting, kind of sickly kind of way. It's almost like Luden's cough droppy kind of red fruit cherry thing going on here. And I don't mean that like it's tastes synthetic, but there's just an amplitude, a little bit of aggressiveness on that, and that fruited bourbon side of things that you don't typically get from beers, and I think it's a really cool play in what they did here with these kind of multiple berry components. Is that you get almost like, and I know they've done a version of this, but it's almost like a cherry Coke kind of version of Bourbon County Stout. Didn't they do like cherry Coke, cherry soda, kind of something along those lines? Maybe I'm making up in that brain, but I'm pretty sure they did. That's the way this kind of comes off for me, and has this kind of like cherry cola. It's like, in my cherry Coke, I don't mean like you go buy the cherry Coke at the convenience store. I mean, go to like, we would go to, in my area, we go to like a mom and pop kind of hot dog stand, and they would take the maraschino cherries, and pour you a Coke, and then take the maraschino cherries and pour that cherry juice into the Coke and make you a cherry Coke. That's the vibes I'm getting off this. It has that kind of, that cherry juice, kind of reddish, rich reddish fruit kind of mixture, but you're getting it from that side that is very much like that, just rich, kind of super syrupy, bourbony, kind of just berryness, for the lack of a better word. Mouthfeel's probably just slightly lower than what I typically expect from Bourbon County. With that kind of amount of berries going on here, it kind of makes sense. That can help temper or harm temper a bit of mouthfeel from time to time. But it's still nicely balanced. Skews a skosh more sweet because of that tempered bitterness. But I think it works really fun here. And honestly, not gonna lie to you, picking this up at that discounted price point of $17, I'm cool with it. I'm absolutely cool with it. Again, base Bourbon County Stout is 100% one of my favorite values when it comes to beer. Especially here in New Jersey, we can get base Bourbon County Stout. Sometimes you can get it sub $10. I have a spot right now that has a bunch of 2018 bottles for $10.30. At that price point, it's really hard to get angry at those beers because of the consistency and the quality you're going to get from them. But to have something like this cool little twist variant on the base that, while markedly different, still has the core of what the beer is all about, still kind of ingrained in its DNA. Yeah, I dig it, man. I dig it. We're a month removed from being that it's middle of September, or a month away, I should say, rather than removed from kind of an announcement of what they're going to be doing release-wise. They might have announced it already, but Black Friday is typically when it's released. It usually kind of gets a little bit of groundswell around like early October, stuff like that. So we're almost there, and to see stuff like this still on the shelves is absolutely fantastic. So just those rich reddish fruits leading the way on top of that nice kind of non-hot but powerful kind of spirit / bourbon component in this nice kind of bittering, roasty, toasty base on the beer. I dig it. I dig it. I'm here for it. And yeah, one of the better Bourbon Counties I've had. Let's put it that way. And if I'm going to sit here and go Mount Rushmore stats, one of the better barrel-aged stouts I've had as of late, yes. I mean, plain and simple. It's kind of hard to sit here, AB and Goose, and you go hot and bothered about that. But brass tacks is absolutely delicious. Absolutely fantastic beer. Mount Rushmore status. Yes, value and availability, like I said, $17 off the shelf for something that was typically $24. I think, again, if I'm wrong, don't skewer me, beer nerds. That's not a bad thing, and leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you like spirit-based barrel-aged stouts, I mean, that kind of redundancy there. Barrel-aged stouts, spirit-aged stouts. But you want them to skew in that rich, reddish fruitiness. If you like cherry Coke, and if you just like well-done barrel-aged beers, you will dig this. So there you go. Review in the books. Hopefully enjoyed. Yeah, Bourbon County. Goose Island. Have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? Have you had this particular beer? Have you had it fresh? Have you had it old? Very curious about that. What's your favorite Bourbon County beer? All that fun stuff down there. Hopefully enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a little bit of Bourbon County right now. We'll see you next time. Cheers, all.